Welcome to Global Intel. Today, we explore a bold prediction. Could BRICS control half of the world economy by 2040? With members like Brazil and China growing rapidly, this is a must-watch discussion. Let's unpack the numbers and geopolitics driving this shift. Subscribe, and let's dive in. BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. It began as a Goldman Sachs acronym in 2001. By 2024, with new members like Saudi Arabia, BRICS could represent 41% of global GDP. The IMF projects this could increase to 45% by 2040. According to some forecasts, up to 50% is possible. China and India are the key growth engines. China's GDP was $16.86 trillion in 2021, and it may soon surpass the US. India's economy is growing quickly, too. New members add additional economic clout. For instance, Saudi Arabia and the UAE control 40% of global oil production. BRICS trade surged from $270 billion in 2017 to $422 billion in 2022. Their new development bank funds major projects. With a combined population of 4 billion in essential resources, BRICS seems strong. But can 50% really be achieved? Let's look at three key drivers of BRICS economic surge. First, rapid growth is crucial. The IMF anticipates BRICS GDP growth at 4% for 2024. This is significantly higher than the G7's 1.7%. Countries like Egypt and Ethiopia have high potential for growth. Second, strategic expansion is on the table. Over 34 countries have shown interest in joining. If these nations join, BRICS could cover a third of global GDP. Their financial institutions, like the new development bank, are appealing alternatives to Western options. Third, there's a growing movement toward de-dollarization. Recent sanctions on Russia prompted trade in local currencies. China's payment systems are gaining traction, bypassing traditional methods. Ex-posts reveal that BRICS might control 37% of the global GDP soon. But will they maintain this momentum? However, the 50% forecast isn't without challenges. Internal divisions within BRICS pose a significant risk. India and China have border disputes. Brazil prefers closer ties with the US. These tensions can hamper collaboration. Moreover, economic disparities matter. China's GDP constitutes over 52% of BRICS. Other nations, like Brazil and South Africa, lag in growth and development. Wealth gaps affect economic mobility. Finally, the G7 remains resilient. Despite BRICS potential, G7 nominal GDP exceeds BRICS. The US dollar dominates global reserves. Can BRICS overcome this dominance? Several risks accompany achieving 50%. Geopolitical issues could disrupt growth. For example, India's rivalry with China poses threats. Environmental challenges, like climate change, also loom large. Social unrest due to income inequality is a real concern. Globally, BRICS rise may challenge Western influences. They control significant shares of global minerals and energy. Yet, overdependence on these resources may lead to economic instability. G7 sanctions might hinder their exports. To approach the ambitious 50% target, BRICS needs unity and solid strategy. Strengthening institutions can enhance financial independence. Key nations must sustain growth while diversifying economies. A unified trade bloc could reduce dollar reliance. The G7 can reform financial institutions and invest in developing nations. Individuals can also contribute by supporting BRICS-friendly investments. In conclusion, reaching 50% GDP by 2040 is possible but requires overcoming major hurdles. With strategic planning and collaboration, BRICS has a chance. However, the G7 won't easily relinquish its power. That's our look at BRICS on Global Intel. Hit like if you found this informative. Share your thoughts. Will BRICS dominate by 2040? Subscribe for more insights from Global Intel. See you next time.